All right. Thank you so much to my wonderful fellow moderator for introducing me. My name is Kevin Strandiek. An absolute pleasure to be present here today. And my role is really and absolutely simple to take you to the conversation centered on jobs in the creative economy and basically what is it, what's in store when we pick up this particular conversation on economy and the future of work. And actually, joining me in this particular wonderful panel, I would like to introduce them one by one. Is going to be Carolina Quintana. And Carolina Quintana is actually the leads networking and partnerships for the United Nations Conference on Trade and Development. Also, probably getting in alongside Carolina Quintana is going to be Jakia Rahman. I hope probably got her name clearly and sound. And Jakia Rahman is a director at the Sozowski Foundation. And the third participant who is actually also going to support us a big deal in probably putting this particular conversation into perspective on jobs in the creative economy and the future of work is going to be Sisi Rojas from Tico Sports. Yeah, I see this is already on our screen, and Carolina is also on screen. Thank you, wonderful ladies. Much appreciation and a big warm welcome into this particular panel. I hope you're all well. Let's get it started. Carolina Quintana, I've probably done a basic introduction onto what you do at UNCTAD. Probably just take us through a little bit introduction of again who you are and the role you play at UNCTAD. Carolina?
I think we're having some technical difficulties, Kevins. I think Caroline can't hear us at the moment.
All right. So Carolina can't hear us at the moment. All right. Probably as we wait for Carolina, could we probably just go on to Jakia Rahman, Director Sozowski Foundation. It was a pleasure to see you last week. Good to see you again. Probably just take us on to a brief introduction into again who you are and the role you play at the Sozowski Foundation. Jackie?
Wonderful. Well, may I first begin by saying thank you to the YMCA for hosting such a brilliant summit, and of course to be then with the esteemed colleagues as well on this call. So thank you very much, firstly. So yes, I'm Jakia Rahman Khoury. I am the director of the Swarovski Foundation, and our work is really to build on the philanthropic efforts that we've had with the business since 1895. So really just to sort of build upon the kind of impact that we want to create globally. I don't know if I should tell you a bit more about the Swarovski Foundation, Kevin.
All right, probably we're going to come back onto that, Jakia. Yeah, we'll get to come onto that right about now. Probably let's go on to Sisi. Sisi, if you can probably get me a brief introduction again onto who you are and probably all you do at Tico Sports. I'll be glad to know more, and also the audience watching will be glad. Yeah, so, Sisi, if you can hear me,
Yes, I can. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can get you clear and sound. Yeah, sure.
Okay, great. All right. Well, thank you very much for having me. It's really an honor to be here, and I love all my work. I'm involved in the YMCA at the local, national, and international level. So, big fan and champion of our work. So I am president and co-owner of Tico Productions and Tico Sports. We are a multimedia, multilingual production company across all creative platforms. Most notably, in 2016, we developed a Spanish bilingual sports broadcasting platform for professional sports teams, and we work with the NFL and collegiate teams, including the Kansas City Chiefs, Philadelphia Eagles, Jacksonville Jaguars, and the Las Vegas Raiders. On the day-to-day side, I run the business operations to include negotiating our broadcast agreements, business development, partner activations, community activations, all the innovative things that we're doing in the sport in Spanish language sports, and including broadcasting talent and identifying and working with all of our talent, including interns. So really looking forward to this discussion. Thank you.
Perfect, Sisi. One thing that I've picked up on your introduction is also the role of sports. And bearing in mind we live in a very dynamic world, probably I'll put you onto the spot, onto how best can we really integrate sports within the creative economy and how can young people tap into it. Let me come back to you, Jackia. I know you're already queuing me and asking me, should I allow you to probably go ahead and give details onto what you do at Swarovski Foundation? Probably take it ahead and in a few probably words, yeah, let us know what Swarovski Foundation is all about. Jackie? Jackie, it seems you're mute.
Sorry, you think I would know this after a year going on a global platform. Well, thank you very much. So the Swarovski Foundation is built on the values of our founder of the Swarovski business, Daniel Swarovski. So in 1895, Daniel Swarovski believed that to really create impact is not only to think of oneself, but to think of others too. And that value continues within the organization. And in 2013, the Swarovski Foundation was incorporated to really consolidate all the philanthropic efforts that we have been doing globally. And we are governed by a board of trustees. Our chair is Nadia Swarovski, and we have other global trustees to ensure that our strategy is really looking to create impact. So we have 3 areas of focus, and those are promoting culture and creativity, which I look forward to talking and delving in more in this session. It's also looking at human empowerment and preserving the environment. And what really anchors all of our work is the Sustainable Development Goals, so that we can ensure that our impact is scalable, measurable, and is effective. And therefore, with these Sustainable Development Goals, we've also reflected how can we build on our efforts. And so I'm happy to say that early this year, we built a signature program called Creatives for Our Future. So I'll share more during this discussion, but it's great to be able to share in this context. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Jackia, for that. And probably my intent was to get to Sisi. But then again, Sisi, I will ask you to probably just give me a second to bring on board Carolina Quintana. I know maybe she had some audio hitches. I pray and trust probably that she can hear us clear and sound. So, Carolina, if you can hear me, probably just go ahead, a bit of an introduction in terms of what you do at UNCTAD, and probably bearing in mind the role UNCTAD plays when it comes to championing the creative economy. You can merge all that together so that we can all be at the same page on this particular conversation. So, Carolina, on to you.
Thank you, Kevin. Apologies to everyone that we had an issue with the audio, which is, I think, fixed now. So we are delighted to participate in this forum and be with the other panelists. Thank you for the invitation. Our organization, UNCTAD, looks at the intersection of trade, development, and creative economy. So we have been promoting the creative economy as a new source of economic growth and development. Its significant contribution of 3% to global GDP makes it a powerful emerging economic sector that is being strengthened by a surge in digitalization and services. So the creative economy and its industries are strategic sectors. If they are nurtured and supported, they can boost sustainable growth, employment, and exports potential, in particular for the youth. The creative industries such as advertising, architecture, arts, crafts, design, fashion, film, video, they are all intensive in creative skills and can generate income through trade and intellectual property rights. Prior to the coronavirus, this sector was among the most dynamic sectors in the international economy. And of course, after the pandemic, we have seen a severe blow to various segments of this creative economy. But nevertheless, there are some areas that show a remarkable resilience and dynamism. So maybe I can continue afterwards, so I can leave my other colleagues to speak about the areas of work. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Carolina. That's really perfect. Before probably you plugged in, Madam Sisi had probably taken us through what they do at Tico Sports. And one thing that probably stood out for me during her introduction was the role of sports and maybe what they do from using sports to champion the creative economy. And maybe I'll want to go to Sisi and probably just to ask her, maybe from a role of sports perspective, could there be any policy gaps that currently miss out when it comes to really using sports as a key proponent onto the creative economy? I don't know. I asked that question intentionally because from an UNCTAD perspective, they do a role of policy making and supporting thematic areas within the creative economy. So maybe that's a chance also to have Carolina coming in later. So Sisi, on to you, please.
Hi, sure. So, I think there are many. If you're asking about the opportunities that exist in sports that are beyond playing on the field, there are many, and that's one of the reasons why. That's one of the exciting things, and quite candidly, that's one of the reasons, and that's one of the areas that I think the Y can play a bigger role, is access and providing opportunities in this particular arena. There's a whole economy built around sports, other than just being a participant. We're on the back end, and we do broadcasting. So yes, it's one thing to, and we do a great job, I believe, of finding and cultivating and coaching great talent to broadcast the games. But there's a whole slew of professions that surround that. Audio production, all the graphic design. I mean, anything in the creative economy, all those job skills absolutely play a role in sports. We sell the broadcast. I mean, there are many other types of many other types of skill sets and careers that roll up into creating a phenomenal broadcast. There are many opportunities in sports on the back end. And what I love about sports is it's really one of those equalizers. It's like technology. It crosses over socioeconomics, it crosses over age, it crosses over, many what could be considered obstacles. And it's truly a level playing field. And that's why we truly invest. And we're able to bring along particularly underserved markets that would not have access to professional sports. We provide many opportunities for young people of color, especially, to gain a footprint and just to gain entry in pathways into sports.
Thank you for that, Sisi. You've really probably put it into context, much more depth than maybe what I was looking into. And probably let's come to Jackie. Jackie, I know probably from our past discussions, you really brought in the element of the role of Swarovski when it comes to championing issues around social justice. I don't know, maybe if at all in this particular instance, you'll be able to broadly pick up that particular area and expand on it on any best way relating it with the future of work and the creative economy. Jackie?
Super, thank you. And I think many of the things that Sisi and Caroline have shared is, the work that we try to do within our organizations so that we can address many of the social and environmental inequalities. And when we think about sort of those barriers and we think about the impact that we can achieve, and if we may take the lens of creativity, we think it's important. And that's why with the Creators for Our Future program, we've seen that young people are the future change makers, right? And really then with this program, we launched in March this year. It was the opportunity where we've put a call out for those between the age of 18 to 25, specifically within the creative field, irrespective of the medium, is to say, how do you see the future being? How would you address those social and environmental inequalities? And so with that call out, it was incredible to see. We received about 400 applications from 75 countries. So you can see the demand and the thirst from these young people. It was amazing. And so with this, we had to go through the difficult process to make sure we with this enthusiastic cohort, to really then consider who would be receiving a sort of grant from the Swarovski Foundation. And with that, I'm happy to share that there are 9 cohorts that we've chosen, and it's all on our website. And I'm happy to share the link later in the chat. But effectively, it's looking at, with these 9 creatives, they're looking at product or creative solutions to address things like access to water, access to education, access to sustainable living. And I think sustainability is a big part of how we look at promoting the fact that whatever resources that we use now doesn't impact society or the environment in the future. So I think with this program, that goal is to really promote, again, that creative solution. And I think what Cece also mentioned when she was looking at sort of the barriers to access, it was also, yes, it's financial, providing grants to these individuals, but also in parallel, matching many of these young people with mentors, but also to networks as well, because it should be all accessible so that we can promote all these great innovations. Thank you.
Perfect and absolutely brilliant, Jakia. The future is youth, and it's not actually in the future, it should be actually now. And probably looking at it at the perspective of the now and youth really being the moment, I'll want to take it to Carolina Quintana in terms of just highlighting unto us the key areas that UNCTAD is really looking at right now with the sole aim of championing and supporting young people within the creative economy, and probably just perspectives around how best is UNCTAD trying to create a space onto which young people can thrive and push on. So Carolina, on to you.
Thank you, Kevin, for the question. First of all, let me just say that in our classification, we don't have sports, but we definitely think, of course, it's very important for the balanced lifestyles and well-being. And we have seen in many countries, including sports, within the realm of the creative industry sectors that they support. Similarly, I think that it's very important to work with foundations like Swarovski. They play a key role in making possible the development of these creative ideas and mentoring them in order for them to find business solutions that can help them to make a living and an income. From our level in UNCTAD, I would say that well, we work with governments, so we try to first of all, collect data. We need to work with data in order to inform the policymakers about the opportunities that the creative industry sectors offer in terms of trade potential, in terms of jobs, in terms of new incomes. So we have been investing a lot in developing data so that we can mobilize, if you wish, governments. So, you know, we have seen a lot of governments now really setting up policies targeting the development of their targets and creative industries, like China, like Indonesia recently, but also in Colombia. We have seen other countries like Nigeria, who is also putting in place innovative financial mechanisms to support and develop their film industry. And now, more increasingly, after the pandemic, we are seeing more and more countries adopting digitalization strategies so that they can use these digital channels in order to be able to help the creatives to reach global markets. So I think this is one of the levels that I think it's very important to set up an enabling framework from which the youth and the young people will find opportunities where they will be able to access supports from the governments in terms of financing, in terms of cultural infrastructure, in terms of course, if this is something that I think probably ILO will raise, the important study about the safety nets that are needed for this sector, because they do fantastic work, they have great talent and creativity, but somebody has to protect it. And many of these creators are in the informal sector, or they don't have a protection when, for example, during the pandemic, they didn't have any supports in order to have a livelihood. So I think this is very important to work together with governments, with foundations and stakeholders in order to create a framework that will help setting up a good basis from which the creative people can actually obtain jobs who are sustainable because this market is very dynamic, but we need to have some good basis.
Kevin,
Sorry,
you're on mute.
absolutely brilliant and well indicated right there, Carolina Quintana. And one thing that also stands out across the whole three conversations on you is sustainability and the dynamic element that is in place when it comes to the creative economy. Now, ladies in the room, we only have 3 minutes to go, or rather, probably right now it's about 2 minutes for this particular panel segment to come to an end. So when I go to Sisi, Jackie, and Carolina, I'll just urge you in a second or 2 or 3 seconds, starting with Sisi, to just mention one key word that you like any person listening to this particular panel right now to go away with. And we're going to probably pick up that when you get to the breakout. So for the sake of time, just one word or a key area that you'll desire any participant or any viewer to pick up on and ride on, and we'll extend it up later on our breakout session. So starting with you, Sisi, Jackie, then we'll end with Carolina. So sure, Sisi, in a second, 2 or 3, please take it away.
Okay, sure. So as an employer, I would encourage you to not wait. If you're interested in working for a particular company or a particular industry, reach out to them and be sort of aggressive about it. And you have to make things happen as well.
Jackie?
My feedback would be we all have the opportunity or the accountability to really create that change. And so really believe in yourselves and do connect, because we can have a more sustainable future. Thank you.
Great, much brilliant. Carolina, to you?
Yes, I would encourage the youth to be on the watch for the jobs of the future related to the green economy and the creative economy. They are totally linked. If you want to make a transformation in the fashion industry, for example, who is one of the most polluted industries in the world, you will need to bring the creators on board. Similarly, you need to bring architects and designers if you want to have sustainable housing and new products coming to the market, which are more respectable to the environment.
Thank you so very much, ladies. I'll urge you to do something interesting so that we can get to the next stage. 2 fingers in the sky so that I can take a picture to it. 2 fingers, this way. Yeah, this way. All right, so for a picture and the cameras for social media. All right, and that's how we end this particular creative plenary segment featuring Sisi Rogers from TICO, Jackie Rahman from the Swarovski Foundation, and Carolina Quintana from UNCTAD. To anyone listening in and would like to probably follow the ladies through for more and more details, please, I'm urging you to check out the breakout session that is going to come in. I've lost track of the hours, so I'll ask Mike and the crew behind the team to probably share that on chat. But it's an absolute pleasure to do this. My name is Kevin Srandiek, coming all the way from Kenya. Ladies, bless you, and probably see you up on the creative breakout session segment. Mike and team, I believe we're in time. We believe in time. So back to you, team. And thank you, and stay blessed.